Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at Totemic, which is a 2020 two-player dueling game by Colossal Games. This normally isn't my wheelhouse. I don't know why I backed this one on Kickstarter, but I did. It's finally turned up and I've played it a few times now. So I thought I'd show you how it played, which is not something I normally do, but the game is very simple, so I thought it'd be just as easy to show you. So setup-wise, we're going to look like this. We're going to have each player is going to choose a spirit animal. So in this case, we've got a catfish and a snake, and then we're going to set your health card to the number of health indicated on the card here. So say for example here, it's got 20 health, therefore I'll set this thing to 20. Each character card or spirit animal card has a advantage, which is this bit of text here. So in this case, the snake says after you select one card from the offering and resolve its ability, you may exchange that card with one random card from your opponent's hand. Whereas the catfish here says after the deck is shuffled, your opponent loses 2 additional power. Now the idea of the game is to try and basically knock your opponent's power down to 0 and win the game. There is a mechanism in the game called dominance. This is the dominance token. Now whoever's got the dominance token basically breaks ties in terms of fights, and also every time the dominance is exchanged, the player losing it loses 1 health point as well. 3 cards are going to be given to each player, like so, and I'll go through the anatomy of those in a second. And also there's going to be a central deck here which is made up of all the basic cards plus 2 cards from each of the spirit animals. So every spirit animal has 2 cards associated to them, which are shuffled into those main cards. And then 3 are drawn face up, which are kind of called the offering, I believe. So here we've got the anatomy of the cards we've got here, which is kind of your fighting prowess. So we've got a 1, a 3, and an 8 here available. And we've got some kind of the ability, what the card does. So, for example, this one here says place the top card of the deck in the discard pile and gain power equal to that card's strength value. Your opponent loses 1 power, discard 2 random cards, and then draw 2 cards or challenge. So what are you going to do on your turn? So on your turn, you're going to do one of 3 things. So the first thing you can do is simply draw a card from the top of the deck and then discard back down to 3 cards. So that's very simple in itself. The second thing you can do is you can use one of these cards from the offering. And to do that, you would basically choose one of them, you'd slide it towards you, and you'd use the bottom ability here. So in this example, my opponent would lose 1 power, he would discard 2 of his cards, and then draw 2 cards. And then what I'd do is I'll take this card and put it into my hand, and put one of these back into the discard pile. So say, for example, I did this. That would go in the discard pile over here. Now the third thing you can do, sorry, this one always gets refreshed up to 3. The third thing you can do is you can challenge someone. And when you challenge someone, your opponent can react in one of 3 ways. So when you're challenging someone, what you're going to do is you are going to be basically having a duel based on the power here. So for example, this guy's best dueling power would be an 8 and a 4 for 12 power. And this one here would be the 7 and the 4 for 11 power. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick 2 of your cards, or 2 out of your 3 cards. So let's say this chose this ones, these ones chose this one, like this, and then the other player can choose to react in, as I said, one of 3 ways. The first thing he can do is he can choose to accept that fight, and if they accept that fight, they're both going to be flipped face up, and whoever's got the highest kind of ability or the highest fighting power amongst the 2 of them is going to win, and the opponent is going to lose health equal to this totem tracker here, in this case 5, and every fighting round or every challenge round starts on 5 health, or losing 5 power. The second option that he can do is he can threaten. So say this character challenged this character, this character, instead of accepting it, he can threaten the other character, and if he threatens the other character, this tracker is going to go up 5 points, like so. Meaning that whoever loses the fight is going to lose more health than before. And basically it's going to be a back and forth of threatening until somebody either accepts the fight or does the third option, which is submit. So this character, say for example, he's so confident on winning that he's going to threaten him back again, which is going to go to there, like so. And then this character can either threaten back and take that even higher to 20, And what I should mention is if this ever gets to 30, then the fight is considered automatically accepted and basically the fight will be resolved. But if this character kind of bottles it, he says, he doesn't want a piece of him, this one's obviously very, very confident in winning the fight, then the third option is to submit. And when you submit, you don't have to worry about this, you simply just lose 5 health. And that's basically the gist of the game. So obviously you're going to be going back and forth until you get back to 0 health points. Whenever you submit, the other person has to discard 2 cards from their hand, and whenever you whenever you have a fight, the cards that you've used to fight are discarded, and you always draw back up to 3. And that's essentially the gist of the game. Obviously, you've got this very cool contraption here, which tracks all the different threat you're going to lose, or the different health you're going to lose. You've got a ton of different cards available in the game in terms of spirit animals. So you've got like the owl, I've got loads here. You've got the bear, you've got the frog, and you've got the rabbit, all with slightly different abilities. So this game really does strike me as although it's a dueling game, it always has that kind of love letter style feel to it, where you're trying to remember what your opponent's got and manipulate their hand and stuff like that. But also has that dueling ability of games like Magic, and there's so many games in that vein. But what really does make this game stand out and make it very different for me is that bluffing aspect. That whole threaten mechanism is really cool, and I must admit I really did enjoy it. Although I did back this game, I must admit my expectations were pretty low for this one because, again, I don't normally back dueling games, but this one did strike my attention because of this really cool, almost like tattoo printed artwork, which looks amazing, and these cards are really great. But I said, this threaten aspect, or that bluffing, is really great, and I really did enjoy that. The idea that you could have just a couple of 1 power cards in your hand, you can bluff your way all the way up to 20, and then your opponent goes, oh, he must be very confident, so he's going to fold. And you can end up winning, or making your opponent submit to fights that he was always going to win, which is really cool. You've got loads of replayability there in terms of the different animals that you can play with. Artwork is great. It plays ultra quickly. I mean, sometimes you'll just get into a fight and the threat meter will go straight to 30, and your opponent will either beat you or lose you in 1 round, which is quite funny. But you can always play best of 3 or something like that. The game does have a solo mode in it, which I haven't tried, I must admit. And I'm not quite sure how that would work. But yeah, in terms of how quick it is, it's great. I mean, the uptime is fantastic. There's still some pretty good decisions about how you're going to manage your hand, because a lot of the times these really good abilities come with cards that have really rubbish fighting abilities. So it's got that trade-off, whether you want to use the ability and take a poor card into your hand, or take a very strong card into your hand, but have to usually take quite a poor ability. So for example, in this one, you have to challenge immediately, which could be pretty bad if you haven't got the cards to deal with that. So yeah, and also all these different abilities are pretty cool as well. There's quite a big variance in what they do. For example, the R1 there has 4 cards in your hand. And the interaction is really good. The bluffing aspect is great. Replayability wise, you've got lots of different animals to try. I love the artwork, as I mentioned. I think it's really cool. And the game just works a lot better than I expected. It did really surprise me because, as I said, my expectations were low, but we ended up having a really good time with it. And I'm actually really quite happily surprised about it, because it's a lot of fun. It's going to actually be staying in my collection because I think I'm going to be playing this quite a few more times. Again, because we had such a good time with it. So that is my review of Totemic, a really fun, fast, dueling, almost a micro game with a really fun, palpable bluffing mechanism to it that works really well. So check this one out. It gets a decent verdict from me. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a game that's going to set the world on fire, but for what it is, it works really well. So that's Totemic. If you like the review, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.